Hello everyone, welcome to Duke University acceptance into Duke University, and I hope you'll be joining us here in the fall. This is the first of about 7 chats we'll be having, each with a different theme, focused on academics. So if you have questions, we'll have a couple minutes to introduce ourselves, and then we'll have a question and answer period that you can type in a question in the comment section below the video. So to start off, my name is Denzel. Like I said before, I'm a sophomore from High Point, North Carolina. I'm a history major and a religion minor, a global health certificate. And a global certificate is something we can talk about later if you have questions about those. They're a really cool thing we have at Duke. I'm going on Duke Engage this summer to Kenya. I am also a tour guide, so when you come for Budo Days, hopefully we'll get to see each other. And I'm pre-law as well.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Christina. I'm a senior from Houston, Texas, and I'm an English major and psychology minor. I also almost completed my Art of the Moving Image certificate, so if you have any questions about that, I can answer that. I am part of the Chronicle, which is the Duke independent student newspaper, as well as Factboard, Mi Gente, which is a Latino organization on campus, and the Peer Advising Network.
Hi everyone, my name is Noelle Kelly. I'm also a senior at Duke. I'm from Goldsboro, North Carolina, and I'm majoring in biomedical engineering, and I'm also pursuing a certificate in markets and management studies. I'm involved also in the Fact Board and some different engineering organizations, so I can answer questions about being in Pratt and academic life there. So yeah, again, you guys can ask your questions on the comment section, and yeah, we'll happy to answer any questions you guys have about academics. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. The first question we're going to talk about is about our favorite professors at Duke. I can talk about mine. So one of the classes in biomedical engineering is an introduction to electrical circuits. And the woman that taught that class, her name is Kathy Nightingale, and she was my favorite professor that I've had in all my 4 years at Duke. She was very personable, very easy to talk to. She had lots of office hours for students to come and ask questions. And just very straightforward in her delivery of the concepts and everything we needed to know for the class. She's also a pioneer in her field with ultrasound imaging techniques in engineering, specifically in biomedical engineering. So she's definitely my favorite, and I still keep up with her now. So she was great.
Okay. I guess I can go next. So my favorite professor at Duke is Professor Joseph Harris. I actually just completed my creative writing thesis, and he was one of my advisors. And he was the first, he was the professor for the first English class that I took. And I wasn't actually thinking of majoring in English when I first got here, but I loved his class so much. We essentially read a lot of his favorite books and then kind of imitated the style of the writing in our own projects. So since then, I've I've taken a lot of classes with him, digital writing, art of the essay, and then my thesis course. And so he's just always been very helpful, had so many one-on-one meetings with him, and I really couldn't have finished my thesis without him. And so it's just been great getting to know someone. He's invited me over for dinners with his family along with other students, and it's just always been very, very caring and patient about my work and my interests.
Okay, so next we'll talk about the most interesting class that we've ever taken at Duke. It's kind of a tough one for me. But I think I'll say actually a class I took as a freshman. I guess this is a good opportunity to talk about Writing 20 at Duke. So all freshmen are required to take a writing course during their first year at Duke, either their first semester or their second semester. I took mine my first semester on a class called Writing with Durham, and I really didn't know what it was really going to be about before my first day with the class. I just knew it had something to do with getting out into the Durham community. So it turns out this class was a service learning class at Duke, and it's a really good opportunity if you have a chance to take a service learning class. It teaches you a lot, but it also allows you to get out and get involved in the Durham community, which is something that a lot of students love to do. So in this class, it was a really small class of, I think, 12 students maybe. So we met kind of like a typical class a few times a week, and then I think twice a week we went to a local charter school. We walked, it was just a couple blocks away from campus, and we were able to tutor and work with in English and reading and writing with a group of 6th and 7th graders at this school that we were trying to help them improve their reading and writing skills. So it was just a really great opportunity to learn and to just have a different kind of experience at Duke with the service learning class, and especially for my very first semester at Duke. So I would definitely recommend that if you guys ever get a chance to take a service learning class at Duke.
All right. I guess I'll talk about my favorite class. I went on the Duke New York program last summer, which is kind of a combination of an internship and class work in New York. So I interned with Penguin Group Publishing and also took classes, and it was like art and media in New York. And so that was a really fun class because while I was doing my internship, we actually went and met once a week, and we went to different plays, different shows on Broadway and things like that. And then we went in and we discussed them afterwards in class. So I got to go and see a play called Sleep No More, which is probably one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. And what essentially the play was, you had to wear a mask and walk around in this like abandoned hotel. And the play was based off of Macbeth, and so you actually had actors walking around and interacting with you and whispering certain things into your ear according to their script, and just like the action happening right in front of you, and then just like discussing that in class and connecting it to like internship. My internship was really, really cool.
My favorite class I took was last spring. It was a religion class. It was the first one I took, and it was actually with my favorite professor, Mark Goodacre. The class was just so engaging. He was such a great professor that I took it, ended up taking it just for fun, just to fill out a class. I'd never taken a religion class before, but it actually made me want to become a religion minor. So I talked to my advisor, and I figured out what I needed to do to become a minor in religion. It was very easy, and he made the lecture so interesting. He made me want to come to class every day. He made me eager to learn the material and to engage the text, which is something he always talked about. So it was definitely a memorable experience, and I'm definitely going to take another class or two with him before I graduate.
Okay, so next we have a question from Jules about coming to Duke and being a biomedical engineering major, she thinks, but also being pre-med. So I'm not pre-med, so I guess I don't have personal experience with that aspect, but I am a BME student, and I know tons of people who are BME and pre-med or just pre-med. So, oh, sorry, Jules is a guy, sorry. Sorry. Yes, I can speak to that. BME and pre-med, it's very, very common for students to combine both of those. I think you only have to take organic chemistry. It's a year of organic chemistry, so 2 semesters, and a couple other biology classes, I think, are the only classes that differentiate a pre-med BME student versus just a regular BME student. But then there are also some additional pre-med requirements that you may have depending on medical schools and things like that that your pre-med advisor may tell you. So it is challenging, but it's definitely doable. I think some students, you know, they like the idea of having the engineering background as something that they could use to make themselves stand out in medical school, which is really great. But there are a lot of students who are English majors and psychology majors, and they're also pre-med, so you don't think that you have to be an engineering major or a science major in order to be a pre-med student. So it is a heavy course load, and it's a lot to kind of handle, but you'll be working really hard, but it's definitely doable. And there's tons of students here who are doing it, and there's lots of support for you here. So there you go.
Great. So our next question is from Andrew. He asked whether or not double majoring at Duke is common and whether or not it's stressful. So I personally chose not to double major. It would have been actually very easy for me to double major, though. I took a lot of classes that cross-listed with the theater studies classes. And so as a peer advisor, so I work with the Academic Advising Center, and you wouldn't believe how common double majoring is here at Duke. You do kind of have to start planning ahead a little early in order to do that, but you can, I mean, it really depends on what you're choosing to double major in. Most majors require you to have 10 classes in order for you to get a major. But a lot of classes cross-list. So if you want to be a biology and a chemistry major, that'd probably be a little easier than you want to be a history major and a chemistry major. But it is definitely possible. You just have to like sit down with your academic advisor early on and start mapping out the plan for your 4 years here at Duke. You also have summer sessions, your study abroad sessions as well that can usually cross-list or get you credit for these classes. So you definitely have plenty of time. A lot of people come into Duke feeling like they want to do so much and they don't have enough time. But really, when you think about it, you have 4 classes each semester. You can overload after your first year. And you can be taking 5 classes. I know a lot of people actually do take 5 classes every semester. So it really just depends on what you want to do, how much work you're willing to put in, and whether or not you're sure about your majors early on. If you're going to start your second major, your junior year, second semester, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to actually finish it. So it's definitely doable. I would say a lot of people do it, and it's not that stressful. It's very common for people to have a lot of minors and a lot of certificates as well. So if you don't want a double major, you can do a minor or a certificate.
Okay, so the next question is related to interest in economics and math and internship and work opportunities in the DC area with government. So I can definitely say that Duke does offer lots of opportunities with working with the government and working in that area. I'm actually going to be working right outside of DC next year, not really in the government sector, but in that area. So I know a lot of people that are interested in government work that are going to be doing that. And actually Duke, in the fall, they have a government and nonprofit career fair specifically for students interested in internships and employment and that type of work. And lots of different companies or organizations, programs come recruiting Duke students. So that background is definitely in demand as far as the econ and math goes. And there's a ton of stuff out there that you could probably find in DC.
Yeah, and then you also have like a Duke Engage program that does Rock the Vote work, which is really cool. I actually know quite a few people who did that, and they really loved it. So there's definitely plenty of ways to get involved in the government through Duke.
So the next question comes from Frank, and it says, what kind of student jobs can I find at Duke? Which is a great question. There are a lot of different student jobs. Duke has a great work-study program. So you can work a lot of places on campus, from anywhere from the library to you can work in the bookstore. You can work in like cultural centers. I know like the Mary Lou Center for African American Culture, the LGBT Center, the International House, they all offer study abroad that you can work in. So there's a lot of opportunities that you can use to supplement your income when you're here. And there's also opportunities over the summer as well. I know I worked here at Duke over the summer for summer camps for pretty much the whole summer, which was a great experience. I got to meet a lot of great people and build connections with people who work at Duke all year round. So there are a lot of different opportunities for jobs over the summer and during the school year as well. And then there's a follow-up on that question from Lee. It says, I'm an international student, which means I can't really work in the U.S. Is there any on-campus job I can get without being hunted down by the immigration department? So I'm not, I mean, I'm not an international student, so I'm not completely sure exactly how that works, but I would say there probably is definitely a way that you could figure out a way to work here over the summer. And they're really, I mean, over the summer, like during the school year, they're really flexible with allowing students to work. And I know just being here, I've been here 2 years, and I've got a lot of offers of people wanting me to come do work study with them from all over the place, so all over the university. So I would suggest that you definitely ask around. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised about what you can find.
Yeah, and I mean, there are plenty of international students here at Duke, so that's sure a common concern. I would just contact someone at the administration. You can we can probably provide something later on if you really need it. But contact Duke admissions, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer those questions for you.
Okay, so the next question is, how did we make our decision about where to attend college, and what was it that attracted us to coming to Duke? So for me, I did something that I think was kind of abnormal in that I only applied to 2 schools when I was applying to college, which I would not recommend to anybody. But anyway, that's kind of what happened to me. But I, like I said, I'm from North Carolina, so I knew that I kind of wanted to stay close to home. So Duke was, you know, an hour and a half at School of Engineering, and how, you know, top of the line, and how prestigious of a school it was. It was really kind of a no-brainer for me. I've always been interested in health and healthcare and the math and sciences and engineering. So that's really what kind of initially attracted Duke to me. And then just coming, visiting, I'm a huge advocate for visiting college campuses once you get accepted, or even before. If you guys can come to Duke and just come walk around, meet people, talk to people. Everyone that I talked to loved being at Duke. They were doing really amazing things, both at Duke and internationally. They had great summer experiences, working experience. So just talking to different people, and it's just a great atmosphere. So it was a pretty easy choice for me.
Yeah. And for me, I actually didn't get to visit Duke before I came here. I kind of just it took a risk. But for me, a lot of what played a big factor in my decision was financial aid, and Duke's financial aid was by far the most generous package. Also, the support that they offered through the financial aid office really helped me make my decision. And then once I came here, I was very glad that I did. I actually came in pre-med, and so Duke's pre-med program and like their support system was really attractive to me. I ended up not going that route, and I'm actually pre-law now. But I don't regret my decision anyway, and just the people here, the support system that they have in place for any department, for the financial aid, for loan office, anything like that has been really, really great to have.
And for me personally, I'm from North Carolina, so I'm a local. So when I came to visit, I fell in love with the campus, I fell in love with the people, and I learned about all the resources that they had here. And there's so many things that anything you want to do, the university is really here to help you. So if you're interested in research and you want to, go with your professor to do research, the university will fund you, and they'll be very supportive. There's so many things here that you can do, and there's so many ways to get involved, and that's really why I chose Duke, and it's been a great experience.
Cool. So the next question is about the academic environment, and the question is, would you say the academic environment tends to be more supportive or more cutthroat and competitive? And in my experience, it's extremely supportive, not cutthroat at all. On the student perspective, I can't tell you how many study groups and just kind of random study hangouts I've been a part of, especially as a freshman in kind of your larger classes like physics or chemistry that a lot of students need help in, and students are very, very willing to help. Late nights in Perkins or in your dorm, in the common room, a lot of studying goes on there. So students are definitely there to help each other. In every situation, I can't think of a situation where I felt like I couldn't ask another student for help. And also on the level of professors and graduate students and TAs or teachers assistants, they have office hours at least once a week, and you can also schedule other appointments if you need extra help. Very, very willing to help you in even in the larger classes where you think maybe the professor maybe doesn't have as much time to get to know you or spend as much time with you. They have teachers assistants that are very well versed on the content of the course and are very, very willing to help you. So not, in my opinion at least, not cutthroat at all.
So I'm going to share like a quick anecdote. The other day I was flyering on East Campus, and I actually walked by a bulletin board, and an RA had posted something on there asking everybody write down what classes they were in, so like the large classes like Econ 51, Chem 21, or whatever it's numbered now. And asking who in the dorm was in those classes, just because they had actually set up a system so people could go back to this bulletin board and see who was in their class in their dorm so that they could contact them so that they could build a study group, or if they had a last-minute question, they knew who to go to. So I think that's just like a small thing that's really representative of how supportive everyone is here at Duke. I wouldn't say it's cutthroat at all. I don't think I've ever met someone who wouldn't want to help you. It really, really is. There's a huge support system, and I think it's just because people are really happy to be here at Duke, and they want to help each other out. We're all Dukies at heart, so we want to make sure that we all excel.
And I would definitely agree with what they've already said. Study groups are going to be your best friend when you come. You'll meet people in your classes or in your dorms, and you'll want to definitely join up with them and be in study groups. Being a history major, I write a lot of papers, and I usually exchange papers with someone in my class just to get them to read over and see what they're thinking, what we're feeling, and compare notes and see what's going on. So I would definitely say it's definitely not a cutthroat environment. Everyone here is a pretty friendly place to be. This is a Southern university.
Yeah, and the university has a lot of things that they add to. So you have like the writing studio. So if you need help writing essays, they can help you from like the brainstorming of your paper all the way to like a final edit. And then you have like actual office hours or study groups within the big large groups. So like if you're struggling with math, they actually have established times where they have certain TAs or certain professors that hold those hours for everybody in those large classes to come and ask for help.
And professors love for you to come to their office hours. They have to be there anyway, so they definitely love for you to stop by and ask some questions. So it's definitely a plus.
And just one more academic resource I think is just really awesome, especially for your larger classes like econ or physics or the math courses. You can get a free tutor from the Academic Resource Center, and you can have at least one free tutor a semester, and you can have an additional one if you're taking a foreign language. And that's just, a lot of students get tutors. It's an awesome resource, and you can also get additional tutors. They do charge a fee, but having that free tutor for one of your classes is just awesome. Another great resource that we have. Okay, so I guess we can go to the next question about student interested in biochemistry. So how intense are the courses, and what kind of work in classes should a first-year student expect in their first 2 years? I haven't taken biochemistry or that specific area of study, but I will say, depending on, I guess, like what kind of academic standing you're in when you come in. So I guess I'm talking about like AP credits. I know in if you're enrolled in the engineering school, all of your AP credits count towards your academic requirements, which is really nice. But in Trinity, only 2 of your AP credits count towards your academic requirements, and I'm pretty sure that's still correct. So having AP credit can help you. You know, allows you not to kind of skip out on some courses, but you can still be placed, even though the AP credit may not actually give you credit for the course. You can use that to your score to place you in the correct course. Most students usually take 4 classes, especially their first semester, just to kind of get going. Maybe you can ramp it up to 5 or maybe 5.5 your second year. And if you're a science major, I think advisors typically like you to have at least 1 non-science class a semester, just kind of as a gauge, at least 1, maybe 2, just to kind of balance it out. And you kind of have to anyway, just to fulfill your requirements. I mean, it can be intense, but it's definitely doable, and spreading it out over the 4 years is not hard. Doing summer classes, study abroad to get some of those requirements in is also a kind of a way to spread things out and make it a little bit more fun and interesting.
Sure. So our next question is from Rochelle. She asked, would choosing to do a certificate program extend graduation to beyond 4 years? Absolutely not. Like I said, I almost completed my certificate, my minor in addition to my major, and I actually took, I think, 15 classes, maybe more for my major, so I actually tacked on a lot. So I think it really depends. The certificate that I was going to complete only required 5 classes, but some do require more, like the marketing management class certificate. But I wouldn't, I mean, it would just be like adding a minor in that case if it requires that many courses. And it really just, I would say absolutely not. Again, you also have summer classes that you can, if you're a little behind, and you can also overload at other points. So definitely ways to do all of that.
Yeah, that's really true. And something that Noelle touched on too is when you go abroad, you can actually use that to fulfill a lot of your requirements. So next year I'm going abroad, and it's a global health abroad, so it'll help me fulfill my certificate requirements. So that's definitely a plus that they have. And a lot of people get certificates here. They're a pretty great thing to supplement your major. So you can get them in anything, even if it's not compared, even if it's not similar to your major. Because I'm a history major, but I'm getting a global health certificate. So I would definitely say that's something to research and look at when you come. And the
Cool.
next question is from Ingrid. It says, are most classes at Duke taught by professors? And the answer to that is yes. Every class I've had so far, definitely, and everyone I've ever spoken to, all their classes have been taught by a professor, not by a TA. I know a lot of people always ask that question. When you have bigger classes, a lot of times the TAs will break it down in recitation like on a Friday and just recover the material you've covered in class. And unlike a lot of other schools, professors at Duke, every professor, no matter if they're tenured or whatnot, they also have to teach undergraduate introductory level courses. So that's definitely a great thing. So you'll be having classes led by, world-renowned great professors, even coming in your first semester here.
And I only had 1 class that was not taught by a Duke professor, and that was a graduate student. So graduate students do sometimes teach courses, but again, I mean, if you see that you want to if a graduate student is teaching a class, you can always switch out of it. You choose the courses and what professors you take. So really, you have a choice in that as well. But yeah, some grad students do teach courses. And then our next question is from Tina. About research, what percentage of students do research with professors? So I haven't done any research. Noelle, I don't know if you've done any research, but I know quite a few people who have done research. I don't know the exact percentage, and there will actually be another chat on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. that will cover Duke research, so you'll get to tune in and see the Lemur Center, which will be really cool. I have a friend who does research there, and she loves it. She also really loves lemurs. But a lot of people do research at Duke. It's not something that's difficult to do, actually the professors and all the labs here are very accommodating to have undergraduate people helping out with the research, and I think that's not something that's offered at every school, something that's definitely very, very strong here at Duke. I don't know if you want to chime in, Noelle. I don't know if you've done research.
Yeah, I haven't done research with a professor, but yeah, like you said, there's just ample opportunities to do research if you're interested. Even as a freshman, if you're interested in something and you know a professor who's interested in that too and doing work in that in a lab, then sending them an email or going by trying to meet them, or if you have a class with them, it's not unusual at all for freshmen to get involved in research early.
Yeah, and I've gotten plenty of emails asking for undergraduates to help with research. So, like, yeah. Even when you don't email people, they will email you asking for undergraduates.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's true. And I know in Pratt we have a program called Pratt Fellows where you apply at the end of your junior year, I think, and I think it goes throughout your junior year and throughout your senior year also, where you can work do a research project with a professor in a lab, and that can kind of contribute towards your senior thesis or a senior kind of research project that you do. So yes, there's plenty of opportunity to that, and please tune in to the other session on Saturday to learn more about research at Duke. And I guess maybe kind of going off of that, a question from Carlos about being pre-med and doing internships and research for undergrads. And I know just from being from knowing so many pre-med students, I'm sure we all do, there are tons of kind of extracurricular activities that they do outside of academics, outside of kind of their normal schoolwork, that they get experience in the hospital. They volunteer at the hospital in lots of different areas. Again, doing research, going off campus to lots of different facilities. I feel like most pre-med students do it, so it's very much available for you all if you're interested in that. So definitely, if you're pre-med, there's plenty of resources. We're at Duke Medical Center, and they have stuff to do.
Yeah. So I was like I said, I was briefly pre-med, so I can speak to the strength of the pre-med advising program. Definitely a lot of opportunities. So many emails about different internship research opportunities that you have on campus. And if you don't see something that's there, you can always start something yourself. I actually have a friend he's pre-med. And he actually started a program where he noticed that cancer patients that he was volunteering with at Duke Med were kind of lacking in having like an outlet to like just make them feel better. So he actually started a program where every Sunday they go to Brody the swimming pool. Brody's one of our gyms on East Campus. And they have volunteers. It's called the program's called PALS, by the way. And they just kind of hang out with them. They teach them how to swim. And the patients have actually, their parents have actually spoken about how great this has been for them. Just like to have a fun thing for them to do, just to get their minds off of the fact that they do have cancer. So there's definitely great opportunities to like that here at Duke. And like I said, if you don't see something there, Duke is very supportive about you being able to start it. And that's something that's been going on for a year now, and that was an idea from a student. And yeah.
I guess I can take the next question from Raul. His question is about the average work week for an engineering student. How many hours? How collaborative is the learning environment? So I'll be honest. I guess for a first-year student, you're taking 4, maybe 4.5 classes your freshman year for both semesters, and it can be, pretty work intensive. It's not anything that you can't handle, especially with a lot of good planning and time management. So it's definitely not something that is, you're not gonna get any sleep, and you're gonna stay up 24 hours for 3 days in a row. Like I've never pulled an all-nighter. I know plenty of people who have, but I'm very proud to say that I have not. You can graduate without having to deal with that. So yeah, it's definitely doable, and you can also have a life outside of your academics. So I was involved, different clubs, religious life, having just hang out time with your friends. You don't have to constantly be doing work, and you have space. Again, if you manage your time well, space during the day between classes. If you can maximize your time well, it's definitely doable. And Duke encourages you to have activities outside of class that you do. So going to the student activities fair in the fall and signing up for different clubs and organizations that you may be interested in. We definitely recommend all that, and lots of students do that. So it's just about finding what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, and it's definitely able. I don't have a number for you, sorry, about how many hours, but it's definitely doable. So don't worry about that. Oh, and also switching from Carleton, switching between Pratt and Trinity. It is, lots of students do it both ways. So switching out of Pratt into Trinity and vice versa. So it's very easy. The one thing I'll say for switching into Pratt for Trinity students is if you think you may be interested in that, try to go ahead and look at the schedule of courses that engineering students take. So, for example, EGR 53 is an introduction to, it's a computer programming course where we teach you MATLAB, the language that we teach on campus for coding. So if you think you may be interested in switching into Pratt, I would recommend going ahead and taking that class, or maybe just sitting in on a lecture or two during the drop-add period where you can kind of, investigate different classes and see which one you like the best. So I will just try to, if you think you're interested in it, just kind of keep an eye out for the classes that you would need if you were to switch into Pratt, so you can avoid, lots of summer classes or, having to stay an extra semester or something.
All right, and the next question is from Eric. He asked why I decided to switch out of pre-med and whether or not the pre-med program here is cutthroat, and again about grade inflation and deflation. So personally, being pre-med sounded good to me when I was coming into Duke. It was really pulling out of a hat, whether or not it was going to be pre-law or pre-med. It just seemed oh, that's a good thing for me to do. And when I got here, I just didn't enjoy my classes. And I know plenty of people who love their chemistry and their calculus and their biology classes. It just wasn't for me. And so I was still pre-med, I guess, second semester, but I decided to take some courses in other areas of study. So I took my English course, a psychology course, cultural anthropology, and a philosophy course, just to really just cast a wide web. And I ended up just sticking with English, and that's what I enjoyed doing. And so I wouldn't say that it was the fact that the pre-med program was cutthroat. Yes, students here at Duke are very smart. They are intense. They're competitive. I think that's just the nature of it. You wouldn't be getting into Duke if you weren't that way in some way or another. But like we said, there's plenty of support systems for pre-med students. I think it's probably one of the departments, or not even department, areas where there is the most support, because you are taking tough classes. But they are huge classes. Only your freshman year, and I mean the intro to chemistry professor, he's amazing. And the calculus classes, you have so many different resources. And so yes, some of the classes are graded on a curve. So you don't I mean, that's only some of them, so I guess I can't really speak to all the courses that I didn't take. And how did I choose my classes? Like I said, I just kind of went with a pre-med thing. I actually looking back, I wish I had taken one course that wasn't science related my first semester at Duke. So I took chemistry, calculus. My writing 20 was the many goals of science writing, and then I can't remember what my fourth class was. But so I would definitely add one other class in there that you're interested in, just in case pre-med isn't for you. And that was just the case with me, and I wouldn't say that it was anything to do with the fact that Duke's pre-med is super cutthroat in any way. So I hope that answered your question.
And I would also add in there that one great thing is that you don't have to declare your major until
Yes.
second semester or sophomore year. So that gives you plenty of time to be able to explore, take different type of classes, especially if you're in Trinity. There's so many different things that you can take and just fill out. And especially your first year, pretty much any class you take is going to meet some sort of requirement. So just take a big range of classes and see what you like, what you don't like. And you might be pleasantly surprised. I know last year when I took my religion class, it surprised me, and that's why I decided to minor in religion. So.
Um, Right. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in today. Again, this is the first of 7 other video chats. So please come and listen in to what Duke students have to say. We really do want to answer all of your questions. Again, I think that's one of the strongest parts about Duke. Every single Duke student wants to help out future Dukies, and like we really do want you to come here. I've had the most amazing 4 years of my entire life, and I'm really sad to be leaving. So yeah, please tune in. Next Tuesday is the next video chat, and it starts at 7:30, and it's going to be on Spirit. And so you'll get an inside look into Cameron, when they'll be talking about tenting and just like Duke basketball and other athletics here. So you should tune in. Thanks for your
Congratulations or acceptance as well.
Yeah.
Yep, congratulations, guys. Thanks.